Black Mirror is back with its 6th season, and I gotta say, I love this show. I like that it just randomly comes back every couple of years with a few episodes. In general, Black Mirror is a nice reflection of our collective relationship with technology. However, season 6 actually transitions halfway through, with the last 2 episodes being more paranormal entries, and that's for better or for worse. And since I don't have the patience to put together a full season breakdown of every entry, I'll just go over what I think are the best and worst episodes of the season. And as much as it pains me to say it, because I actually liked Zazie Beetz in this episode, Mazey Day just falls flat and comes across as ridiculous. Mazey Day features Zazie Beetz playing a paparazzo. We can tell it's 2006 by the way she's flexing her iPod Nano.
Can you believe how small it is?
That's great.
Yeah, cool.
But she's trying to shuffle careers because in a moment of clarity, she sees how vulgar the paparazzi business truly is. She also found out that one of her photographs outed a celebrity, and that inadvertently caused him to commit suicide. We then cut to Mazey, a young actress that is currently working on a movie, but Mazey Day takes her car out on a cold rainy night while under the influence and hits someone. We are meant to believe that from here, Mazey just goes on the run. However, the guilt hangs over her head and she is unable to perform, so the movie drops her from the production. Now the world has no idea where she is, and gossip columns are paying big bucks for any pictures and information on her whereabouts. That's where Zazie comes back in, because in the meantime, she has given up her Peter Parker hustle, but is now desperately needing the money because of her vicious roommate.
Please, I do not feel it is appropriate for me to financially support...
Nathan, I'll get the money.
So Zazie decides that she just needs one last score and she's out. And she tracks down Mazey in damn near no time, but needs some help from her Paps friend, which draws even more Paps. So they are just in a race to get photos of Mazey at this point. They discover Mazey chained up in a cabin looking like she is going through withdrawals, but guess what? It turns out that she's got that dog in her. This young woman is a fucking werewolf, and it really felt like I wasn't even watching Black Mirror anymore. But yeah, apparently the guy that she ran over was actually a werewolf, and when she checked on him, she got bit and started going through changes. And these paparazzo are so creepy because they go from taking pictures of a girl chained to the floor and not offering any help.
Guys, she's burning up.
So much for sexy shots.
To watching a person literally turn into a dire wolf and still just snapping pictures. But Zazie and her friend get out of there and the game is afoot. It gets kind of annoying when the chase is on because they end up back at this diner and they do that thing in horror movies where the girl can't possibly explain the situation to the cop and the cop can't possibly listen for shit or pick up on context clues to suggest that they are being chased by someone or something. But it got really crazy when Zazie went for the cop's gun instead of saying there's a fucking werewolf right behind you, shoot. But even when the cop has his gun out, he doesn't even really try to shoot. Like, people are getting eaten and the only shot this cop gets off is an accidental neck shot to the nice diner guy. It's just so frustrating. Anyway, Mazey kills everyone except for Zazie, and Zazie takes a picture as Mazey decides to shoot herself instead of living like a werewolf. The end. I guess the Black Mirror aspect was kinda just about our need to photograph everything. I don't know. I may return to this episode when Halloween rolls around, but yeah, this one was just really goofy to me. It's not even the supernatural element that threw me off on this one, because I actually really enjoyed Demon 79. Demon 79 might actually be my second favorite of the season. I really just like the two main characters in their odd couple dynamic, but what I would say is the best episode of the season is Beyond the Sea. Stars Aaron Paul, Kate Mara, and Josh Hartnett, and starts off in what appears to be 1969's California. This one kind of reminds me of the concept in Avatar, except that the avatars are just regular people on Earth, while their real selves are somewhere on a spaceship. Aaron Paul plays Cliff, an astronaut in a deep space program that allows the astronauts to experience life back on Earth through their android replicas. So when the mission started, Cliff decided to move out to the boondocks and is kinda acting shady about his family getting to know their neighbors or drawing any attention to themselves.
Be good for Henry to meet some local kids.
We'll see.
Cliff's astro buddy and co-pilot is David, and he is more of a celebrity astronaut type, and he and his families live out in the hills, and you can tell he likes the public attention.
May I? Oh my God, it's amazing.
However, this backfires massively, and he is the target of what is basically a recreation of the Sharon Tate Manson family murders, with the cult leader being played by Kieran Culkin. Basically, this cult sees the replicas as abominations to God, so they kill his family.
A man sleeps in the sky while his mechanical image walks the earth, and you share your bed with this abomination?
I mean, their motives don't have to make sense, they're a crazy cult, but if they had Cliff Booth on their side, it would have been a different story. But this sets up a very terrifying premise because while Cliff is still able to access his replica, David still has to complete the remaining 4 years of their deep space mission alone. So we get these scenes of him just sitting on the ship, doing nothing, watching his family's funeral from space. Like, man, that would be so devastating. Cliff's wife, played by Kate Mara, suggests that his co-pilot borrows some link time with his replica. They come to an agreement where the co-pilot can use the replica once a week for an hour to experience Earth and work on a painting for the family. So he's a co-pilot in more ways than one.
You did this from memory? When something is vivid, I just kind of see it.
I would say this is when the episode really leans into the sci-fi themes that make me love Black Mirror. Because this dude is going through trauma and grieving in space, and the only way that he's able to really emotionally process that is by sharing another man's android body. And there's so many ways that that can go bad. Quick question for the audience. Is it cheating for Kate Mara to hook up with her husband's replica if another man is using it? But I also really like the character work Aaron Paul did in this episode. Aaron is playing Cliff, who is very stoic and kind of burdened with worry, so he moved his family out to the middle of nowhere. But then Aaron is also playing the replica while David is using it, which feels like a different character entirely. It always felt like I was watching a different person, so A+ for that. And I love the relationship conflicts, because David is someone that is relearning how to appreciate life and comes across as inherently more charming and not as strict. So Kate Mara is a lot warmer to the replica when he is the one co-piloting it. It's like you and the guy she tells you not to worry about, but it's also just like you. I love it. But at the end of the day, Kate Mara is not falling for any of that shit, and when she rejects the co-pilot's advancements, that's when David gets a bit more bold.
Work your way into my home, wearing my husband like a suit?
He even hits Cliff and Mara's kid for messing up his painting. That is another guy using your body to punish your kid. That's fucked up. But listen, Cliff is kinda okay with it.
Boy needs keeping in line.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine that kid getting 2 ass whoopings because his dad wasn't technically in the replica at the time of the first, so he has to get his in now?
Give him a little smack upside the head.
Which, as far as Henry knows, was from you.
Nothing I haven't done myself 100 times.
But also remember, Cliff just wants to actually make it back home to Earth, so he doesn't really want to rock the boat. That's how this whole thing started, to comfort his co-pilot so they can make it back. But it all comes to a head when Cliff finds the nudes of his wife David drew back on the ship. He paints by memory.
I don't know what he drew.
He draws from memory. When something is vivid, I just kind of see it.
So we get the scene with Aaron Paul and Kate Mara back on Earth when she tells him that she is lonely and he's more of a shell of the man that he used to be now. And I mean, because he really is just a shell of a man. Anyway, Cliff learns how to love his wife and family again and tells his co-pilot to go fuck himself. The only problem is, David has already lost his mind, and this dude leaves Cliff out in space while he links up with his replica one last time, and he uses the replica to murder Cliff's family. But then David has the audacity to come back and get Cliff, so he has the opportunity to see what he did to his family. The episode ends with David kicking out the chair as the ultimate invitation to the company misery loves to keep. But yeah, that was what I think are the best and worst episodes of Black Mirror season 6. Was it the best season? No, not particularly. I think season 3 and 4 are probably still the best of the series for me, and those will forever be hard to top. But I do think that season 6 was still very entertaining and worth the watch, and if they do in the future create a new show that leans more into the paranormal, I would actually love that. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what your favorite episode of the season was. Like and subscribe if you think 9 Nerd Yards is awful.